was going to do this extemporaneously, but as you can tell, I can't even pronounce that word, so. With all the great players that I've played before me, with me, and since I retired, I'm deeply humbled and honored to be selected as a member of the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame. What a blessing. At this time, I want to thank the committee for selecting me for this honor. I want to begin by thanking my family who is here for this honor, my wife Marjorie, my sister Beth, and my brother Ron. My 4 grown children were able to attend because of many children of their own and former commitments. I want to begin by recognizing the Ted and Shirley Corman family, who upon my first arrival in Regina welcomed me into their home to board as family for my first season. And they're all sitting over at our table, and I really appreciate it. Ted has since passed away, and he's now singing with the angels in heaven. His wife Shirley and children are here to share in the award. The family is one of the most avid of the Saskatchewan Roughriders fan. They're family to me, and I just thank you all for being here. I want to thank my friend and former teammate, Tom Bainan, for celebrating this with me. It means a lot. Marv Caroluck and his wife, Julie, are here, friends, and also extreme Rough Rider fans. I sure appreciate you all being here. I'm honored. Jim Hobson, the Saskatchewan Rough Rider general manager and former teammate, has provided a table for me along with Larry Bird is here and Steve Mazurek, and I really appreciate their attendance too. It means a lot to me. Now, as I go through this, if I leave out anybody's name, there's no harm and I hope you don't get upset because there's been a lot of names. During my career, God's placed me with great coaches and players who helped me develop my skills at each level. My football career began as Pop Warner League in San Anselmo in the 8th grade, California, followed by my freshman and sophomore year at Sir Francis Drake High School in San Anselmo, California. It's just north of San Francisco. I completed my junior and senior years, 1959 through 61, as a Eunice, New Mexico Cardinal. I was recruited by Rod Rusk, who was then line coach at UNM, who has since retired from coaching in both the CFL as well as the NFL, saw me on a basketball court and film, and after watching me play in a basketball tournament in Albuquerque, he recruited me to play for the University of New Mexico, Lobos. And to be honest, one huge reason I performed at a level to be selected to the All-American team my senior year and was able to play pro football was as a result of his coaching, the impact that he had on my life and my playing. He inspired excellent play, expected nothing less, and did it without shaming and blaming. After my senior season at UNM, Eagle Keys had me sign a contract to play for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders beginning in 1965. I'll have to tell you that I had to look on a map to see where Regina, not only Regina was, but where Saskatchewan was. I mean, I remembered from history kind of where it was, but anyway, Wayne Tverdik, who was a tackle with me at New Mexico, was also signed at the same time, and so both he and I drove up in our Studebaker Lark, my Studebaker Lark, 4-door, and that was quite an experience. We stopped at a restaurant in South Dakota and looked across, and there was Rod Serling of the Twilight Zone eating. So it kind of softened the impact a little bit. I mentioned Eagle Keys and Rod Rusk. Also, two other coaches who were very instrumental in my life in playing were Don Powell and John Payne. John was a head coach at Saskatchewan for several years. Don Powell was the line coach who has since passed away. Don Powell not only voted me to play, but he influenced me with his deep love for and commitment to Jesus Christ. A few years later, John Payne became my head coach, and once again, I not only had an excellent coach, but a mentor of Christian integrity. A few years ago, when I was given an honor at Lee County, New Mexico, John and Dorothy drove down from Tulsa, Oklahoma to present my honor. It was quite a deal. Previously mentioned how much more time? Am I doing okay? I don't want to run over. Previously mentioned, my college coach, Rod Rust, is still part of my life. And he was planning to be here, but due to the hurricane hitting New Jersey, where he and his wife live, he's unable to attend. I feel honored not only to have had these people's coaching, but to have their friendship after all these years. The 1965 and 1966 seasons, as it turned out, were two developing years for the team to win the Grey Cup in Vancouver in 1966, the first ever Grey Cup to come to Regina. Needless to say, the fans were quite fired up, as depicted in a poem that my friend Ted Corman wrote. "'Tis the night before Grey Cup, and all through the land not a rider or fan sleeping, either east or west brand. The players are nestling all snug in their beds while visions of football dance through their heads. The quarterbacks are plotting to pass or to run. The fans are not worried, they're out for some fun. The great day arrives and big game at last. In just a few hours, it'll be part of the past. In Saskatchewan quarters, quiet confidence reigns. The green and white team will be making long gains. There goes Buchanan, it's bye-bye again. Now Lancaster passes to some of his men. There's Barwell and Warden and Campbell, of course. Now George Reeds gets yarded with just his brute force. The punt team is needed. Here comes Allie Ford. A booming kick follows, another point scored. Now Ottawa takes over, but they're no match for Saskatchewan defense led like Big Atch. With Ekstrand and McQuarters leading the rush, Reed, Dempsey, and Gerhardt add to the crush. Jackson is dumped, out pops the ball, Wayne Shaw has recovered, now Big Green gets the call. The halfbacks are running, the line clears the way, Benesick and Abendschan have come to play. Ernest and Whitehouse, Brock, and the rest. The best line in the country has ridden to the test. I'm sure there are people here who would contend that statement. Some extra points needed, try Abendschan's toe. The ball rises nicely through the upright, it'll go. Ottawa's desperate, they're trying to move, but the Saskatchewan Riders have something to prove. The Shinley to Jackson, surely you jest. For Saskatchewan's fan know that Ron is the best. The pass defense tightens, the ball's knocked away. Bennett and Cossack could do this all day. The Melee, Dashinsky, Dorsch intercept. West is all over. Ottawa look inept. The Red Riders must punt. They're not in the game to our punt return specialist, Gino by name. The green team takes over, just hear the crowd roar. They know the Green Giants will pile up the score. The Eagle is smiling. He thinks he might win. Duncan and Goddard are great with bitter grin. The Saskatchewan Riders will not be denied. To our jolly Green Giants, it's a matter of pride. The Grey Cup they're seeking, the Grey Cup they'll win, and all Saskatchewan will set up a den. And this is by my good friend that I stayed with, who has since passed away, and I treasure it to this day, and I thank you for your patience for listening to it. Okay, I think I've got 15 more minutes, right? Okay. The 1965 and 66 seasons, as it turned out, were two developing years for the team to win the Grey Cup. In Vancouver in 1966, the first ever Grey Cup to come to Regina. Needless to say, the fans were quite fired up, as depicted in a poem, and I read that poem. I meant to read that. Did I already say this to you? Okay, I'm sorry. When I was playing guard, sometimes I had to do it over again too, so. Okay, here we go. The 9 years that followed, I was blessed to be able to make a living, do what I loved, playing the game of football. However, the day came when I knew it was time to retire. It was the most difficult decision, and today my body is showing some of the effects of all the years of football: neck, knee, back, shoulders, some short-term memory loss from concussions received while playing. But I would do it all again for the love of the game. Again, I want to thank the selection committee and those here on my behalf for sharing this prestigious honor with me. Thank you very much.